Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. So this vid is gonna be real quick. This is about talking about something that's been going on for a while now. There's been some interesting activity in regards to AH's fan, well, not her fans, her friends on Instagram. So they have been on a deleting spree, folks, sometimes even deactivating the account. Her friend EO's gone down to a disturbing number of posts, about around 134, where it was originally in the thousands. Today you have Whitney, her sister, deleting everything between 2015 and 2017. So obviously, folks, as we already knew, these folks are trying to hide something. Now, here's this little pesky thing about the internet. This is why it shouldn't concern you. You won't even really necessarily need to bother with screenshots, even though I know we already got them. The internet is a funny thing. Once it's posted online, it is there forever, right? Exactly. So, no matter how many posts they delete or how they try to go about editing their information on their personal accounts, the fact of the matter is, get somebody that's tech savvy and they're going to find that information. What makes this interesting, though, is, to me, is there's got to be something in that time period that's positively damning for AH. So, I'm not necessarily good at data digging, but if anybody is, I'd be real interested if there's a little something in that time period, or several things even maybe, that we're all missing. So, that I just kind of thought was really interesting, and I also wanted to make sure to assure you folks that once it's online, there's no going back on what you've already posted. It can still be found and recovered. So that's going to be an interesting new part of this whole thing. Now, we also know that this is hardly the first time that this has gone on. There's been several times within the last few months, as we get closer and closer to the VA trial, that her supporters, her friends, the people that are around her during the time have been doing some seriously editing to their Instagram files. So I would think it would probably be interesting just to not necessarily be paranoid about it, but just kind of keep track of things. Now, one thing I would recommend, though, don't go on their Instagrams asking about it. It's gonna make them more paranoid. And yes, paranoid people make stupid paranoid decisions, but we've already got a girl that's unhinged. She could actually become a danger if she becomes too unhinged. So I think it's best just to keep an eye on it. It makes me also wonder if this is the only platform that they're editing. Many of those that were involved during her relationship with Depp, they were on more than just one social media. I don't know if any of them have Facebook, but I'd be interested on if they're also editing their Twitter pages. I doubt any of them on Tumblr, but it makes me wonder about that as well. It's highly suspicious, and it makes me kind of wonder, is it something about Toronto? Is it something that contradicts a certain point of her nonsense? Inquiring minds and all that. I can't help but connect the dots there. Now, this all reminds me when years and years ago, when it was a lot easier to get rid of something, when they were trying to make sure that the Judge Rotenberg tape, when Andre Collins was shot 31 times, how hard they fought to keep that video out. When it was finally judge mandated that video not be destroyed, while it was still being litigated over whether or not it was going to be shown, it was its 18th appeal process since 2002. Matthew Israel, the guy that was the head of the Judge Rotenberg Center, ordered for that tape to be destroyed. So this is where I'm coming from. There's got to be something in that wide frame. Something that, like a smoking gun, as it were. People with something to hide are the kind of folks that fight tooth and nail to keep it from being seen to the light of day, like we've seen with the donations. Is when that evidence does come to light, if it's not necessarily game over quite yet, it might as well be, if you know what I'm saying. Now, when that tape got out, the Judge Rotenberg Center and Matthew Israel did some shady things. So I'm going to tell you the result of all of that. What they did is they decided to settle out of court with Andre McCollum's mother for an undescribed amount. They thought that would be the end of it. Matthew Israel, in order to avoid prosecution and jail time, agreed in that settlement that he would step down as the CEO of the Judge Rotenberg Center. You don't even want to know how angry that makes me. That bastard who allowed the torture of kids since the 70s got off on a plea bargain for a freaking settlement. But that's neither here nor there. However, the fight to continue to ban the shops, now that McCollum's mother did not agree to back down on. So that was a whole new fight that had to do with more the politics side of things. But that's also why, for a lot of us, the Judge Roten case isn't over until the freaking bastard that caused it actually has to pay. I'm getting off topic. I'm sorry. That still deeply bothers me. So, what I'm hoping not to see from this is if JD's team gets that smoking gun, they do a deal outside of court. I don't want AH and friends to pull a Matthew Israel and get out by the skin of their teeth. There's gotta be consequences. I don't want to see a slap on the wrist again. Ever again. So I hope, should that smoking gun come out, that he doesn't accept any settlement offers from her. That's my hope anyway. Alright folks, I babbled along enough at you about this. If you could, we don't get many views on this channel. The few that we do get do tend to get removed by YouTube. So if you could, as always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the comments. And also, don't forget to hit that like button. I hope you have a good one. Bye.